Hi, everyone, and welcome to Into the Queens podcast. I'm your host, Mara Marchesi, aka the Intuition Queen. I am a free spirit and I always wanted to live life at my own terms, and I never wanted people to tell me what to do and how to live my life. And this is what I ended up doing. But in my journey, I had to go through a lot of challenges, a lot of fears, and overcome limiting beliefs and all of that. Luckily, my intuition has always been a great guide. And the moment I learned to trust her fully, it's when I was able to really shift and change my life. This is the reason why I am so passionate to help people to trust their intuition, because in this way, you can go through and move beyond whatever limitation is currently holding you back from being the best person you can possibly be and achieve all the goals that you want to achieve. And in doing so, you can go beyond your limitations and finally tune into your prosperity, love, satisfaction, abundance, frequency, and whatever else you're looking for. This is what Intuitive Queens is all about. It started from my personal desire to share as many stories as possible of people that had overcame challenges and tragedies, and when they finally listened to their intuition and trusted, they were able to change their life drastically in a way that was beautiful for them. And some of them found their purpose and they're now sharing their gift to other people. So I hope you find some inspiration here, and I hope you're ready for today's episode. And welcome, welcome, welcome to episode 100. I am so excited. I am so happy to have come this way. There is so much to go. And today I'm talking about my favorite topic, how to connect to your intuition. Because last week, no, not last week, but a couple of episodes before, I think it was episode 97. I'll put that in the link below. I talked about what are the reasons that stop you from connecting to your intuition and trusting your intuition. So today, I want to talk about how you can connect to your intuition after you've maybe done some of the exercises that I suggested in the previous episode. As I said, the link is below. So if you want to go listen to it before you actually listen to this, or you can do it the other way around, whichever works for you. And this is what I'm going to be talking about. But I am very excited because episode 100 and this podcast means so much for me. And I love that you're still listening, that to everyone that is new, let me know where you're listening from, send messages. I love to hear from you. I am super excited. So let's go. Today, I want to give you some tips on how you can actually connect to your intuition. It will work for all of you that are still at the beginning, but also for the ones that are always listening and trusting their intuition. Sometimes, as much as I am the intuition queen and intuition has always been a great guide for me and I'm always connected, sometimes I have to go back to basic because I get cut out from everything that is going on in my life, and I just give it for granted that my intuition is connected and is there and I'm actually trusted, but sometimes I'm not really doing that. So here are some of the ways you can learn and or you can continue. It doesn't matter if you're a newbie or if you're someone that uses their intuition, feels very connected. We all have moments where we feel disconnected. We all have moments where we feel like intuition doesn't work for us. This is one of the things that I hear the most since I've been a coach. This is the thing that I hear the most. It might work for you. It might work in certain situations, but not all the times. It works when it's about other people. And sometimes people just don't really know what to do, really. How do you connect yourself to your intuition? One of the things that I can tell you for sure is that you've done that before. You already know that. The problem is often not really believing that's what's going on and not really believing the messages that we're receiving. Messages are always around us. The universe or God, whatever, however you want to call it, source is always giving us messages. So the first thing that I want you to do, and you can do it with or without the thing that I'm about to say, but it really depends on how you feel. You can try in two different ways. The first thing and the most simple thing is ask yourself, ask your soul, ask your intuition, ask the universe a question. It's the simplest thing, but it's the thing that works the most. So you can do it in two different ways. You can just ask yourself a question. Let's say you're going through some challenging time and you just sit for a moment and you just ask your intuition, the universe, your soul, how can I move through this situation? Or what what do I need to do? What do I need to know in order for me to get out of this situation? The other way you can do it is still by asking yourself a question, but normally what I suggest people to do, especially when they're very new and they haven't done it before, and maybe they are full of anxiety, they're like they have a lot of fears, they're in this state of restlessness because maybe I don't know, the thing that is about to happen to them, it's really, really challenging their emotions and they cannot manage their emotion, is to find a quiet time, find a quiet space where they can tune into themselves for a little bit. And what I mean by that is literally just taking time to breathe for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, however long you feel you can do this, but really is shutting down the noise and try not to get your mind to be so overworked and so overworried. Because a lot of the times, the reason why we are unable to listen to the messages is because our mind keeps going on and on and on. We are so worried about things that haven't happened yet, and we are already picturing the worst case scenario in our mind. And so from our mind, then our emotions get activated, so we start to fear, we start to feel worried and all of that. And so when we are so activated emotionally, mentally, and then it becomes physical, it's very difficult for us to listen to our intuition. So depending where you're at, you can either just ask yourself a question and then ask the universe to provide an answer, but then you also need to be aware. Or if you need more space within yourself, just take it and sit down somewhere. Go to a park, go to a space where you can be in silence and where you're not disturbed. You can take a moment for yourself and really ask yourself that question. The question again is very simple, and you can say things like, dear universe, dear intuition, dear soul, please help me to find a way out from this. It could be an emotion, from this fear, from this situation, whatever that is. Or you can ask um, to help you understand what you need to know in order for you to get out, or what you need to be in order for you to get out. Sometimes it's like you need to get out of that fear mode. And so who do you need to be? So you need to be that person that doesn't have fear. But this might just be a little bit too far for the ones of you that are being controlled by their emotions. So just start with the question. Now, what happened is that some of you might receive a response immediately, and it will come to you in a form of maybe something like it's an idea fundamentally. Like you got an idea, you just ask yourself a question and there is an idea popping up into your mind. If you're not sure that's the response that your intuition is giving you, write it down somewhere. Write the question and write out the answer and leave it there. And see if this response keeps coming up in your life during the day, or if you ask the question at night, if you had a dream about it. Because sometimes we feel like the response that has been given to us is not necessarily what we need to move forward with. So when we're not sure, It's just about letting it sink a little bit more, and you will receive more messages linked to that response. And at that point, you will know deep within that that's where you need to go, what you need to do, and that's the correct response for you. So, my suggestion for you is to try it with something that wouldn't affect you too much if you, let's say, you go wrong. The only way you can go wrong if it's if your ego is actually giving you an answer, and so then normally the ego will try to keep you stuck, will try to keep you small to avoid you doing something that you've never done. That's when the fear normally comes up. If you already have fear and you're trying to do something that it never happened to you before, going out of your comfort zone will make you feel fear. So take one step at a time. Whatever your answer is, sit down with it for a little bit. For other of you, the response that you get, it becomes so easy for you because you know it. Like the moment you get an answer, it's like, oh yeah, of course, that's the response. So see how that works for you. So try it for something that it's not like a major decision in your life, like, I don't know, moving country or leaving a person that you're with, or, those kind of things. Do it for something that is small, that it's like, that even if it happens that you make a wrong decision, nothing really changes. But you can take note for that. Remember that your ego wants to keep you small. So if you're not sure about it, the only thing that I can suggest to you is to write things down. Leave it there for a moment, come back again. Um, you always get the universe pushing through whatever situation and helping you to get the right message. And sometimes the way it happens to me, but I mean, like if you listen to previous episodes of Into the Queens or the next ones that are coming up, you will hear so many people saying things like, I didn't want to listen to my intuition, or I got messages from a book or things. So don't get hung up on the response if the response is not something you want or that you're scared of. I've talked about a couple of situations that happened to me that I think are the ones that are the most powerful, probably. There are two situations in my life that when I got the response, I was like, really? No, 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 no. So I really hold on to that. One of the times in which I asked my intuition to help me was in 2019. 2017 was the year where I completed my coaching course and I was a coach. I graduated, I finally was a coach. And in 2018, I started to figure out how I could start to do the transfer from being an employee to start to have my own business. So I was still doing some free sessions, and eventually I started to do paid sessions. But of course, I still had a job, and it wasn't necessarily a job that I loved. And I was trying my way out. I was thinking, okay, so if I need to start a business, I need money. So I was actually trying to leave that job, but it proved to be pretty difficult. So I kept going to work and I kept, doing my job. And then in the evening or weekends, I would have sessions with the few clients that I had. And it was amazing because I was improving. Then I went to the States to study with Jack Canfield. And from that moment, I was like, okay, no, I need to make this happen. This has to be the way. I just have to put more effort into it and really start to have a plan and make it happen. So comes the beginning of 2019, and I really could not stand that place. I just really got to a point where things were so toxic in that place that I just couldn't. And the part of me that was growing as a healer, as a coach, was expanding. And so there was such a clash with my reality and the person that I wanted to be that I felt like I was suffocating. And I remember we had a conversation at work because a lot of us applied to get a promotion. Again, in my mind, there was, if you make more money, you save more money, and then you're more ready to start your business when you get to this amount of money. This was my idea. And beginning of 2019, our bosses sit down and tell us, to all of us, we were about 6 or 8 that applied for a promotion, and they tell us that they are not promoting anybody because there is money issue. And we were all mad. One of my other managers was like, you should get a promotion. I'm like, yeah, well, tell my boss. And in that moment, I knew that staying there without the promotion was gonna really become worse for me. It just generally, the mood of all of us was really low because we could see that they were wasting money on other things that weren't that important. And the fact that none of us got a promotion really just said a lot about the company. None of us was happy there. So, and I had this desire to start my business, but at the same time, I didn't think I had enough money to do that. At some point after the meeting that I had with my boss, where I was so pissed off, and I kind of called this bullshit in front of his face, and he had to eventually kind of agree with me without really saying it officially. And I just remember I was like, how do I do this? Please get me out of this situation. What can I do? I really felt stuck because I couldn't find a better job, a better pay. Sometimes if you change job, there is this beginning energy where everything is fine and you're happy, you're changing environment or new colleagues and all of that. So I thought, that plus more money, and I will figure out how to save more money so then I can do, or I will study something else. I don't know. Something had to change. And I remember normally some of the things that I do is like I do meditation. I journal a lot. So I was doing all of those things. So the questions for me were always pretty much the same. I wake up, I get ready to go to work, and I had to walk through the park to get to work. And it was a really nice half an hour walk. And I remember I am walking inside the park and I hear a voice that says to me, it literally was a voice, just leave. It was a whisper, to the point that I turned around to see if someone else was behind me. And I was alone in the park. I was like, what? I knew what that was. But because my mind was like, I need to make more money and I need to save more money. And so I think it was February when I was talking about when this happened. In my mind, I had up until June so that I would save as much as I could. And then eventually I had enough time to also figure out what I had to do. So I keep walking and I hear this voice again. And it's for me, it's now when I don't listen, it's a very physical sensation that starts from my belly, comes up from my mouth, and it feels like someone is talking to me. It's a weird thing. And I hear that again. And in that moment, I knew what that was, to the point that I looked up and I was like, okay, universe, I hear you. It freaks me out, but I guess I can do it. And in the last 10 minutes walk that I had to get to the office, I figured out what to do, when to give my notice, because I was waiting for a commission to be paid, which were going to be paid at the end of the month. And then I needed to figure out all of the things. And eventually I gave notice a few weeks afterwards. And I started to make all of my plans. I just could not listen to it. But my brain and my ego were like, no, 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 are you crazy? This is not possible. You don't have enough money. You don't actually have a plan. but it felt like it was something that I had to do. Like my body knew, like, this is the way. And as scary as it was, I knew that was the only way forward. And I would have figured things out. I would have got a job eventually if I could have made enough money. But I had to take that step in order for me to move forward. And so this will probably happen to you when you ask yourself a question and that question either freaks you out or it's so far beyond what you could possibly think of, or maybe you have been trying to find a solution. And so you maybe wrote down a couple of ways in which you could do, but those ways don't feel right enough. So that's why you connect to your intuition, and then your intuition gives you this answer where you're like, oh, no. But then when you start to tune into that answer, your body will start to relax as you start to figure out how you can make that happen. Even if you don't think you can, and even if you think there are obstacles on the way. So see how that plays out for you. This is the first thing, and it's the easiest thing. Ask yourself a question. One of the things that I want to say to you, and I think I said that in the previous episode, but it's always worth repeating. Your intuition is never wrong if you're trusting your intuition and not your fear and not your ego. It's always giving you the best solution possible for your soul in order for you to evolve, because this is the whole point of our journey here. We're here to evolve because we are here surrounded by this physical body and physical environment, physical people. And we have created a variety of limitations for ourselves that are not allowing us to get to the point where we can actually fulfill our purpose, whatever that is. And as we move forward, our intuition is going to guide us to our evolution. The more we learn to listen to ourselves, the more we learn to not be afraid to be ourselves, the more we learn what are our personal lessons. Every one of us has personal lessons that needs to learn, and obstacles that needs to overcome. We all have those. Some people are here. I had clients that started working with me. She figured out that the reason why she was here was that she needed to learn what love was for her so that she could actually help other people to find love. And this was very clear from the beginning. But because she was so full of fears, because of the previous experiences that she had in her life and how she grew up and all of that, there was such a blockage around her. She knew that was something that she craved, but she didn't really realize that was something she actually wanted to continue to go deeper on so that she could actually help other people. And it was funny to me because she was the person that people would go ask for advice in their love life, even if she didn't have it all together. But for some reason, people felt she was the right person. But she couldn't see that because she hadn't done enough work for herself to get to learn to love herself first, but also to understand what were her limitations, what was blocking her. So as we start to unpack and work on that with her, eventually she started to realize why she was here and why she was having all of those issues around love and relationships. It was a message for her. Of course, it's not like that for everybody, but it is like that for a lot of people. For me, I am here to help you release emotional limitations and energetic limitation, anything that is holding you back from be yourself first and foremost. Like, be yourself without being controlled by other people, meaning society, meaning family, meaning religion, or whatever else that forces you to be in a different way from who you really are. And only in that moment you can tune into whatever frequency is important for you. For me, it's abundance, it's success, it's money, it's feeling satisfied, and it's love, but it's all together. For me, it's really, my journey here has always been to release myself from all the limitations in order for me to find a way to feel proud of myself in the way I take care of myself and sustain myself economically, emotionally, physically, all of that. And it's been a challenge in a lot of moments of my life, but I've overcame a lot of fear. So this is my journey, and it's a reason why I'm doing this, because this is my journey. And the more I release stuff that are holding me back, the more I understand things about myself, but general, and the more I can help other people release the same things. So we are all here for a reason, and some of us can find the purpose earlier on. So, but our intuition is here to help us with our evolution. It doesn't matter what the evolution means. For me, it's important to know I have a reason here, and the reason is to help others. But for some of you, I work with a client that her purpose was to be a mother and make sure that the family was taken care of and that there was love all around, because she had a bad childhood and she didn't know what love is until she met what became her husband. And together they shifted their lives and decided that that was their main reason for being alive. So it could be anything. You don't have to have a business. You don't have to have a family. You don't have to have anything. And this is the reason why I use human design and color therapy to help you understand your own personal blueprint. I always talk about personal blueprint, personal way to do things. We are also different. We need to learn to understand ourselves. And this is what intuition does. When you learn to connect and trust your intuition, it's going to help you to understand more about yourself, it's going to help you to see that you can move forward, that you can go out of your comfort zone, that you're able to do certain things. So I wanted to point this out because people think, oh, intuition is something woo-woo, and it is, because of the way it comes through. And although now science is backing things up and is explaining a lot of things, but it is our way forward. It is our way towards our evolution. And this is why it's important to learn to connect and learn to trust. All right, I'm going to stop here. I get really passionate, as you can see, talking about intuition. But for me, for my life, it's been such a great guide. And I often think about I wouldn't be able to do anything if I didn't have my intuition guiding me through a lot of situations. And the more you tune into it, the more it becomes easier for you to understand how your intuition speaks to you. The more you tune into it, the more it will evolve, and it will help you to understand things quicker. You're going to second guess yourself less. So it's just like a muscle. The more you work on it, the more it amplifies and empowers you and strengthens you, and then it's easy for you to just connect. We're always connected, but sometimes we just need to make a little bit more of an effort, especially when there are a lot of things happening in our lives. All right. Okay. Let's go to another way you can connect to your intuition. And in this podcast, I forgot to say this before, but I'm talking to you about the ways that for me have been extremely helpful. They're also very general. A lot of people talk about those things, but I always like to give my point of view, because I can tell you this worked and this didn't. You can try it and see what happens. It doesn't work for everybody. So I'm talking about meditation. I had clients that really just couldn't do it. One of my clients was like, Mara, I just keep falling asleep. So maybe it's not for you. And there are different ways in which you can do meditation. The classical way is to maybe start with a guided meditation. That's how I started. Like when I started to meditate, I I didn't know what to do. So I went to YouTube and I just chose a guided meditation. And the fascinating things about social media now is that we have so many resources that are free. And you can choose the topics that you want to. I have a meditation that you can download for free on my website. I will put the link in the description notes. It's called Intuitive Awakening, and I use colors to help you connect to your intuition. So you can use that too and see how that plays out. It's a very simple one, but that's also a way to get you to stay connected to yourself, to your energy, to colors, see how your body reacts. So the point of meditation is to, for me, the way I see it is that meditation helps you to calm down your nervous system, to calm down your mind. Because when you are in fear, when you are worried, when there is too much going on in your mind and you are overwhelmed, whatever the emotion that is predominant for you in that moment in time, it's the reason why you cannot connect. So you need to calm down. You need to calm down on a physical level. You need to calm down on an emotional level, energetic level. So meditation is that thing that helps you do that. It's not that if your mind is racing because you have 200 thoughts in your mind in 1 second, meditation is not going to get you to zero. So, but it's definitely going to help you to distract your mind from what you're thinking of, and it's going to help you to connect to a different part of yourself. And so there are meditations that go through the body, meditations that go through the chakras, meditations that help with energy. Find the one that is for you. Now, right now, I only have one on my website, but I'm working to create more. So if you go to the free resources tab on my website, The Intuition Queen, so it's The Intuition Queen / free resources, you will find all of the free resources. And in the next few weeks, you will also find new meditations that I am thinking and working on. So just check it out. And if you're signed up to my email list, the link is also below. You can be updated. And I always tell my list when something is new and where they can find it and all of that. I'm always coming up with things. So that's the best way probably to be updated on all of the new freebies and the new programs and workshops I'm coming up with. So if you're interested, sign up to the newsletter, and the link is in the description box, and you can find everything there. Anyway, so a few things here. If you've never meditated, you might not know, and you might not need to stay 30 minutes, an hour in meditation. So I always suggest my clients that have never done meditation before to start with a 10 minutes meditation. There are so many, so many. I absolutely love the ones from Michael B. Beckwith. He has those very short 10-15 minutes meditation, but personally, I find them really powerful and I really love his voice. I love everything that he talks about, so I follow him. But he has meditations where there are questions asked and you need to tune into yourself. Otherwise, there are other meditations where they guide you, like mine. The reason for that is that by following what someone else is telling you, your mind is distracted. And in being distracted is not thinking about all of the things that are worrying you, making you feel fearful and overwhelmed and whatever else. And in following that, and also obviously with all the sounds and stuff, your body starts to relax, your mind starts to relax. And in that moment, you start to find calm and quiet within. So the more you do this, the more it helps you. So my suggestion is to start from a 10 minutes one, and then maybe if you can do it, continue with 15 minutes and 20 minutes until you move on to a longer period of time. For me, I started meditating when I was in that job that I told you earlier, because I really struggled to work there. I really struggled to be surrounded by people that were always bitching about someone else. There were always so much gossip. Nobody was happy. So there was this toxic conversations, toxic behaviors, and it really was downing onto me. And at that point, I was already doing energy work. I was aware of how energy affects us, and when you are in those kind of environment, the negative energy comes on to you. I would feel it. I would feel it so much, and I was so happy that I could walk through the park on the way back, because I felt like being in nature. Sometimes I would just stay in the park, sat down there, and just soak in the energy of the plants and trees, because I really felt drained. I was so tired. The constant complaints and the constant toxicity, I just felt that energy. So I in that period, I was doing meditation in the morning because it would help me during the day. I was listening to affirmations at work, and then in the evening I will come home and smudge everything out, have a shower with salt. I was trying really hard to get rid of shitty energy that wasn't necessarily mine. But when you are in that kind of environment, when someone complains about something, we have a tendency to then do the same. And so meditation was the thing that helped me the most to be prepared to go to work in the morning, but also to clear out the negative energy. And I would do a lot of cord cutting meditation at the end just to release the energy. If you want to do any cord cutting meditation, just send me a message, because I'm preparing some, and I'm more than happy to send it over to you if that's the case, if you feel like you need some energy release. So this is one of the things. For the ones of you that instead know how to meditate a lot, I will suggest to start meditating without having someone guiding you, because they work in the same way. I get so many messages when I meditate, and I meditate every single day. And my meditations go from half an hour to an hour. I get a lot of messages and ideas when I am meditating, or sometimes I just really feel the energy cleaning me and cleansing me and purifying me and empowering me. But sometimes the best way you can do it to connect is to sit in silence and really, really tune into your intuition, which is going to sound very weird. But sometimes it's really nice to just stay in silence for however long you manage, and see what your body is telling you. And, sometimes you feel a specific emotion coming through, but see what your body is telling you. Sometimes maybe you have a thought, and then there is an emotion coming through, especially when you're doing meditation to release emotions that you don't want to feel. So maybe there is a thought about something that you need to do, and all of a sudden you feel like the overwhelm, or the, oh my God, I don't want to do this. I don't want to see that person. So this is the way your body is actually talking to you. Your intuition is talking to you via physical sensations, via thought. So don't dismiss this, because sometimes maybe you feel, I don't know, maybe you feel off. maybe you feel weird, maybe you feel anxiety, and you're not thinking about the fact that the reason why you feel anxiety is because, I don't know, you have a family commitment in the next 2 weeks, and you don't want to go, but you don't know how to say no, and you're afraid of what people will say. And maybe that response from your body that comes through as a form of anxiety when you are in meditation, and maybe you've been feeling okay and feeling still and feeling calm, and then that thought comes up of you having to go to this place with your family, and anxiety starts to come up. Those are linked. So maybe this anxiety that you're feeling at work that has nothing to do with work has a lot to do with this commitment that you have with your family. Sometimes we are not able to connect the dots because our mind thinks, oh, I have this feeling right now, and right now I am in this place with these people, so this feeling might be related to this. So you feel anxiety because you're working in this place, and you feel like the anxiety is related to, I don't know, a project you're working on or a person that you're working with, when the reality that is coming from the fact that you have not been able to set boundaries with your family. For example, this is comes from a situation I had with my client a couple of years ago. Sometimes we think things are related to something else because they are right there in the moment, but oftentimes we just need calm and peace to actually understand what our intuition really wants to tell us. Now, I made this example about a bad thing, but maybe you just don't know how to finish a project, and then if you do a silent meditation, you get this amazing idea, and you finish the meditation, you sit down, you complete the project. It could be in whichever way you need it to be. Maybe it's about releasing some particular emotion, maybe it's about understanding something of a situation or yourself, or maybe it's about receiving the best idea you could possibly receive. It could be in a lot of different ways, but this will show you that you have the answers within. You just need to give yourself permission to take time to connect to yourself. This is it. Oftentimes, we prioritize a lot of other things and never ourselves, never our connection to our intuition. And we make decisions based on the craziness that is going around us, the feeling of overwhelm and fear and stuckness that we feel, when if we just give ourselves time, the answers will come through and they will be more aligned than you could possibly imagine. One thing that I want to tell you is also that if you are starting to meditate and you don't feel like any answers coming in, or you don't feel any changes, just keep at it. It's just gonna take time. Maybe you just have too much going on and your body needs a little bit more time. So everybody's very different, and will have their specific timing. So just give yourself a chance and try to do it as much as possible. And I promise you, you will see the shift. There are two more ways that I use that will help you to connect to your intuition. The next one is writing, journaling. And for me, it's one of the most powerful ways to understand things about me. Because oftentimes we have things in our head. They can confuse us. We might think something, but the reality is not really that is. So I have a variety of ways in which I journal. I sit down, I wake up, I do my meditation in the morning, and then I write things. It could be the way I'm feeling. It could be things that I want to do. It could be how I want the day to go. I just let go. It's like, I think Louise Hay calls it journaling dump or something like that, writing dump, something like that. Whatever you have in mind, whatever is coming through, whatever you're feeling, that's a way. And sometimes when we read what we've written, we realize that what we're writing doesn't really make sense or it's not completely true. And that gives you such a different perspective because you actually see things in front of your eyes and then you start to question that. Oftentimes, especially when I'm feeling low, I'm writing that and I'm like, oh, come on, you've done this before. What's the reason why you're feeling stuck right now? What's going on? And then with those questions, I then go back. I'm like, of course, this has happened. That's why I'm feeling like this. Or I've done this, like I've gone through bigger stuff. Why am I feeling afraid of this stupid thing? That gives you so much perspective and helps you to really stay connected to yourself. And it's one of the most powerful ways. For me, writing, it's really important. I tune into my psychic ability so much with colors and writing, and so that works very well. One of the things that also works very well is if you write questions. So like the example I did for the meditation, how do I get out of this situation? What would I do if I didn't feel fear, for example? Things like that. And you will find yourself amazed by how your soul is able to give you answers on things that you don't think you have an answer to. So this is another way that you can do it in the morning, you can do it before you go to bed. um, it is powerful because for some people works better because it's more practical, it's more tangible. I know some of my clients love it because it is tangible. When you're actually physically busy with a pen and a paper writing, the whole of your body is busy doing something. So you can't distract yourself that much. For some people, especially at the beginning, doing meditation might not work because their body is still in fight or flight. But writing connects all the parts of you, all of the parts of yourself are busy. Your hand is writing, so it's a physical thing. Your mind is, your eyes are busy looking at the paper to see what your mind is thinking about what you're writing. So you can't be distracted that much. So this is one of the ways that it's really, really powerful and you can get answers. Sometimes I ask myself a question in the evening, I go to bed, and then I get an answer in the morning, or I have a dream. Your intuition will work with you in a lot of different ways. One of my clients, the moment she started working with me, and you will see it because next week's episode is an interview to her to understand how she felt from the beginning, from when we started working together until the end. And she didn't know anything about intuition and crystals and connecting and all of that. As we started working, dreams for her became really, really powerful and became the way she gets a lot of messages. So this could be a way that will help you. So you can either ask yourself a question mentally, or you can write it down and then go to bed and see what happens. And and then if you remember the dream, write it down because there is always an explanation to something, and there is always a reason for it, and you can just check it out on Google and see, and maybe you can buy a book about the explanation of dreams, but there is always like a connection to what's going on within you, and oftentimes it's like an old situation that is still holding on to you and you don't know about it. There is so much you can learn about yourself just tuning into yourself. The last one, otherwise I'm gonna go on for too long. It's something that I started doing years and years back. I think I was still working and I was still studying to be a coach. I read The Universe Has Your Back from Gabby Bernstein, and I just really loved what she wrote. And I bought my first deck, this one. which is the Universe Has Your Back card deck. And I did it because I loved what she talked about, and I highlighted a lot of sentences there. And when she came out with the card deck, it was just so beautiful, because there are so many empowering affirmations. So let's say I'm just going to take one now. The question is, what's a message that my listener right now needs to receive as I am talking about connecting to intuition? Okay, so two cards came out, and if you're watching this on YouTube, you can actually see the card, how it is. The cards are really beautiful and they're really powerful messages. This one says, I create mindful moments throughout the day, reminding myself that I am love and miracles are natural. Beautiful, right? And then the other one says, when I accept the love of the universe as my primary teacher, I will always be guided back to the light. And here we go, intuition talking. So those were very important to me, because whenever you are mad at someone, whenever you're in this situation where you're like, I want out, I'm feeling stuck, I don't know what to do, and you don't feel like sitting down in meditation because maybe you're too restless and it doesn't work, and you don't feel like if you ask a question you get an answer just right now, or you can't be bothered to write, or you don't have the space and time. If you have a card and you just pop a question and the card comes out, then it kind of gives you a direction and it makes you feel like, oh, okay, this is what I need to tune in. Or it's just a reminder. Those cards really were a reminder of, trusting, of tuning into love, or things like that. And it would just change and shift your perception and make you feel more grateful for who you are, where you're at, and what's going on in your life, because you can actually see that there are ways to shift your energy, there are ways to move forward, there are ways to get you out of feeling the negative feelings. It's just a matter of taking a step forward and be willing to move forward, be willing to get out of that situation, be willing to get out of your comfort zone, be willing to ask for help, whatever that is for you, right? All right, so those are just some of the ways you can actually connect to your intuition, and I just wanted to give you very, very simple ways to do it, because it's always good to start from the beginning. And I know this podcast has been going on for a while, but because I had such a break, I feel like I'm starting back from the beginning. It's a new me, it's a new version of me, it's a new season. So here we are. I hope those tips were helpful. As I said, I'd love for you to let me know what you think about it, what you're using, what's the most effective tool for you. Is there anything that you're struggling with? Reach out. As I said, go check my freebies on my website, theintuitionqueen.com/freebie. You will find the meditation, Intuitive Awakening. You will find a 30 minutes coaching call, and you will also find a masterclass if you want to learn to understand how to have enough energy to stay focused and stay motivated using human design. But as I said, sign up to my newsletter. The link is below if you want to know more about tips and new offers, new freebies, and things that I am doing that can help you to move forward. And if you want to connect with me, if you want to work with me, again, on my website, theintuitionqueen.com/offers, you can find all of the one-off sessions. You can find a color therapy session, inner child healing session, and a human design session. Or if you feel like you're ready and you know me already, or you feel like I could help you and you want to work with me for a longer period, I have a program called Inner Freedom. Just send me a message and I'll send you a link to have a quick chat so we can see what's going on, and I can direct you in the best possible solution. And if you're ready to work together, we can work together. Okay, all right. Well, thank you so much for watching and listening to this episode. I hope this was helpful. I'm always so grateful whenever you send me feedback. If you could leave me a review on Apple, that would be so amazing. And I'll see you next week. Ciao.